Well, hello everyone, and welcome to FranTastic InSights, where we provide insights from some of the coolest people in franchising. My name is Alesia Visconti. I am the CEO and president of FranServe and Franchise Dictionary magazine. Now, FranServe is the world's largest franchise consulting organization, and our mission is really very simple. We aim to help people change their lives through franchise ownership, and we do that through a network of incredible franchisors and, of course, our fantastic franchise consultants. Now, today I have one of the best with us. I am so happy. It's a friend of mine and a wonderful consultant. We have Dan Hayes, who owns and is the managing partner of 100 Acre Consulting. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a real honor.
Well, I am delighted you are with us. I know we're all very busy franchising, on fire these days, but I appreciate you being with us. And for those who are listening, I know when I talk about, FranServe and franchise consulting, lots of people do not know what a franchise consultant is. I get that look, that quizzical franchise consultant.
Oh, yeah.
So can you explain what a franchise consultant is and what you do, Dan, in the course of the day?
Sure. I usually start off with saying I'm in the franchise industry, and then I say I'm a consultant. As a consultant, I'm sort of a matchmaker, actually. I have done all sorts of things. I coach, I educate people. When you're coming to me, usually somebody will come and say, I want a particular franchise, and I'll say why, and then we start to talk about it, and then they realize that there's a whole lot more to it than they could have ever possibly imagined, and they would never even get to that as quickly and easy as without the help of somebody who has been sort of trained in this and who does it on a daily basis. I wake up in the morning, I start with emails at 6:15 a.m. And, depending, I have people call me in a panic over things that, are not panic worthy, but when you're getting ready to spend, $100,000 to $1 million on something, you get gut checks on just about everything. And sometimes it just takes a little hand holding and some reassurance and the ability to, have enough background and knowledge of this industry to be able to say, look, I'm not just saying this, that, there's precedent on this. This has happened before. This is what happens. These are the type of things that occur. And yet, no, you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, it's wonderful. I spent 30 years running nonprofits, and it's basically a lot the same.
Yes.
Helping people figure out, how to make their lives and their community better.
Yeah, I tell you, that's one of the reasons I really got into franchising to begin with. My background, career coaching and life coaching and trying to help people figure out, how to be happy in what they do on a daily basis for, them and their families. And franchise consulting just seemed like such a wonderful opportunity to help people find franchise ownership, business ownership, work for themselves, because just like you said, Dan, right at the beginning, you see people who are excited but confused and overwhelmed, and there's so many choices that they didn't even know about, and that's really what we do, right? I love the matchmaking concept because that makes so much sense. So yeah, I like that. I like that analogy.
I tell them, I said, look, it's just going to be like a dating. You're going to meet them, you're going to date them, you're going to see what they like, what they, all of this stuff, and eventually you're going to join a family. A franchise is like joining a family. They're small. When you get to the top and you realize how many people are running this 500, 700 unit franchise, there's like 9. And you get to know them all, and then you get to know all the cousins and all the the little units.
It's so true, right? What is that we use? Fran family, right? It is just like that, right? It's a Fran family in that regard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what makes your consulting, your approach, and why would someone want to work with you in your firm? What do you think you bring to the table for your candidates and people that you've helped in terms of franchise ownership?
Well, the franchise industry is so dynamic. It is so tight the way they have created their models. I mean, the models are designed to work on their own. As long as you can just follow rules, do what they say, there's room for a little bit of play there. But basically, it's like, this is what will work. And if you do it the way we tell you, you'll be successful. So when somebody comes to me looking for, a franchise, I want to get into a restaurant, I say, look, let's just step back. What kind of lifestyle do you want? Are you married? Do you want to, do you guys want to go to dinner once a month? Do you want to go to dinner once a week? Do you want to go to dinner in Europe 3 times a year? What do you want to do? Do you have kids? Do you want to go to their soccer games? Do you want to go to all their practices? Let's find out what kind of lifestyle you want. Let's find out what you want out of a business, because a franchise is going to be able to do that for you. And then once we find out what you are looking for, in your own personal lifestyle needs and your monetary, wants, what you got to have, then we start looking at franchises that are going to get them there. That's kind of how I approach it. I mean, if somebody comes to me and says, I want a senior care, bang, I'm not going to talk them out of it. I'm going to present them the best senior cares, we have in our portfolio, which are all actually very, very good.
But I hear you, because I know when I was a consultant as well, someone would come to me and say, well, I want this brand because my cousin Susie said that this was a good brand. And and it might have been right for cousin Susie, but it might not be right for, you, right, my candidate.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I agree with you that probing questions, that's the way to go, Dan. And I mean, that's the only way you're going to find out about your candidates, right?
Right. Yeah. You've got to, the last thing I want to do is help somebody get into a business that 2 years down the road, they scratch their head and say, why am I doing this? I can't remember the guy who said the quote, but if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. If you do what you hate, you're going to be talking to me and you.
That's exactly right. How many people do we help out of corporate America and come into, being a franchise owner, right?
So many. Mm-hmm. That and helping people get their kids out of the basement.
Yes.
Yeah, I got an MBA, and it's a big, I say, so how many MBAs do you have in the basement?
And we see that, don't we? We see families coming together to own franchises and work them. We see couples. I mean, we do see a change in just, it used to just be one person, typically, a male coming out of corporate America or who was laid off and owning a franchise. And now we see families, we see couples. It's definitely a different landscape this day.
I see parents actually getting involved with the franchise with their children. And, and knowing that, they're going to step out in a year or two and just leave it to the, to the kid. And, it's, again, it's like matchmaking. It's wonderful. It's all kind of a big family, as big of an industry as we are, the franchise industry as a whole. It's really, very small when you get down on that microcosm level.
Yeah, and it's very personal, right? It's what works for one person or one family or one organization. It's different for everyone. And I mean, that's why I love that matchmaking, because, one person's spouse is not right for the next person, right? And then it's the same thing with franchise ownership. You have to really know what the criteria you want in order to find your best fit.
It's a first name business. You got to get close enough to know a first name and to, be friends. Or,
awesome.
I consider myself friend. I send out Christmas cards to people, and I ask people to send me Christmas cards and stuff. My wife thinks it's hokey, but, if you send me a Christmas card, you're still happy.
Right. There you go. Right. Everybody's still in a good space and enjoying what you're doing. So that's perfect. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper. As we know, I have a couple of, hashtags that I always use on social media. One is Franchise Strong, but I want to talk to you a little bit about, one of my favorites, and it's the hashtag of changing lives. I mean, for me, that's honestly why I got into the franchise space. I wanted to help people change their lives. I wanted to help people get away from typically jobs they were miserable at in corporate America, and find what I call their career bliss. So franchise ownership to me was a wonderful segment for people to, go to their next career stage or go to the next chapter in their lives. And I found that so many people wanted to own their own business, but were scared, didn't know what to do, lots of risk on your own. We're owning a franchise, as you said at the beginning, Dan, follow the system, and you're on your path for success. You have to follow the system. So I'd be real curious to hear what, the hashtag changing lives, means to you, to your firm, and how you have gone about doing that for a candidate of yours.
Well, actually, that is almost the foundation. That's kind of my mission. When as I said earlier, I've spent 30 years running nonprofits. And, my whole goal was if I could make people feel good about where they live, they got involved with where they live. And then once they get involved with where they live, they build the community. And it's just, nonprofits, it's the same with this. If I put somebody into a franchise, I've helped them, I've helped their family. If it's a storefront, the community's got a brand new shiny penny. Everybody loves a brand new shiny penny on Main Street. And if it has employees, as my grandmother would say, more is the better, Danny, more is the better. Because then we've now helped so many people, and other people are working. You asked about a life changer. I have a gentleman, he was in New York City. He moved here from the Ivory Coast. He and his wife were here. They had one child. She was pregnant with another one, like a month into it. And he came to me. He was a vice president at Lehman Marcus. And he came to me looking for just a separate stream of income. And, and I found him something, and he invested, and he was happy, and we continued to chat. And, one day we got on this thing about how he lived in New Jersey across the river and was freezing to death. All the time. And I said, well, what are you living in New Jersey for? You should be living in Florida. And he said, oh, if I could only, live in Florida. I said, okay, I'll bite. What would you do if you lived in Florida? And he said, I don't know, I help old people. I said, dude, let's talk senior care. He now owns 2 senior cares in Orlando. He's down there. He's got his wife. He's got his 2 children. He's hot, or he's comfortable. Everybody else is dying. And, and he's just loving life. And he's out of corporate America. And he's got, he's got 2, well, he's got 1 open, and he's working on his other one. And, and we chat every now and again. He's just, how can I beat that? That's a whole rung on the karmic ladder for me.
It is. Because not only, like you said, he is happy what he's doing, he's happy where he's doing it. And again, that's one of the things that's great. So many people move to areas they don't like because their job demands that, they pick up roots and uproot their family and take the kids out of school, and you have to go here and you have to go there, and it's not really where you want to be. And franchise ownership definitely allows for a different path.
It does, because suddenly it's a little easier. It's just, where do you want to live? Okay, what do you want to do? Let's see if we can put the 2 together. And if we can, boom, baby,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Back the car up.
And I will tell you, I'm going to be envious this winter because, of course, where we live, right up in the Northeast, I'm in New Jersey. I'm always envious in the winter of the franchisees who are down in Florida. So I'll be thinking about him. Thank you for that, Dan. I appreciate that. So now I will tell you, I can, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I know our audience is always looking at or thinking about business opportunities. If someone wanted to work with you as you being their franchise consultant, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? How would they find you, Dan?
Well, they could go to my website, 100acreconsulting.com. They could Google semi-absentee business, semi-absentee franchise, semi-absentee owner on page 1. I'm above Entrepreneur Magazine. It took me 2 years. But yeah, anyway, they could do that, and they'll find me, 100 Acre Consulting. And then you can contact information. Go, if nothing else, just go there, read my blogs. I've probably got 90 blogs on there that I've written.
Awesome. Awesome. And we have those links and those posts either right above our comments or right below the comments, depending on what social media platform or where you're seeing this, so that will be embedded as well. But yes, I would encourage anyone who's listening, if you're thinking about franchise ownership, to reach out to Dan. He is, just a delightful man, as you can tell, very caring and passionate about franchising and about helping his candidates. And if you're interested in being a franchise consultant like Dan, you can reach out to us at our website at franserve.com, FranServe.com, or email us at connect@franserve.com. So we're going to be wrapping up soon, Dan. I wanted to ask you, I do appreciate your FranTastic insights. Is there anything that you would like to add? Any last thoughts before we wrap up today?
Oh, I remember when the square hamburger of Wendy's came north, and to me, back in those days, the idea of franchise was a sports team. It's so incredible what the franchise industry is today and what's available out there, what can be acquired for not a lot when you really think about changing your life, in such a manner, such a degree. It's not for everybody. I heard it's, 1 out of 100 people can take that step into, entrepreneurship. It's, you just pat yourself on the back for even thinking about it. But boy, there's something really special in life about when you're taking care of everything on your own and you're doing it yourself. You feel really good. And, and now, once you're thinking of the service industries of franchising, we're recession proof. Most of them are, COVID and essential. They're COVID proof and essential. It's, you can't believe how many things out there are happening today, keeping this country running, that are franchises.
And that's a great point. I don't think a lot of people realize just how many things are franchises, and they're not, individual company businesses. They're a franchise, and an individual franchise owner owns that business. And as you said, there's so many more industries and categories in franchising than there ever was. People always think of, as you said, food, right, restaurants, and that's still obviously a component in franchising, but there's about 80 categories in franchising. So anyone who's listening, I bet if you have a desire or a passion about something, trust me, there's probably a franchise that'll go with it. So reach out to Dan and learn about them, because again, as he said, it's wonderful when you have your own business that can control your own future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My grandpa used to always say, the answer is always no unless you ask.
I like that. I might have to steal that. I will credit your grandmother, though. So thank you very much, Dan. Thank you, audience. And again, reach out to Dan. And Dan, thank you.
Thank you. Absolute delight. Absolute delight.
Go
FranServe.